that we daily all the live market news and updates for the Philippine stock markets as well as globally. So let's start off for May 13, 2020. This is the most important news that you may not have known. For the first MSCI Philippines quarterly rebalancing, for those who don't know who MSCI is, MSCI stands for Morgan Stanley Composite Index. They make a rebalancing every quarter. That means that every 3 months you'd have a reshifting of your index. For this index, quarterly rebalancing, which will end this May 2020, they would have to delete Security Bank, -1%, and add Pure Gold, additional 2.16%. We also saw that MSCI increased weighting for Ayala Land, 0.82%, at the expense of the following. They're gonna decrease SM Prime, SM, BDO, and Ayala Corporation. Now, that is for your main MSCI Philippines, also known as EPHE. That's the ticker in New York Stock Exchange. Now, the other thing that you have to know is that there is an MSCI Philippines Emerging Market Small Cap Index. In this case, they are deleting East West, 1.99%, Macro Asia, 1%, Mega Wide, -1.84%, adding Home. All Home got listed just a few months ago. DMCI, they're gonna increase 6.9%, and Security Bank will become 9.38%. Essentially, Security Bank got demoted from the standard index down to the small cap index. Now let's see how the market reacted with this news. As you can see from the stats here, I'm using WealthSec platform. This is premier.wealthsec.net. My name is Nikki and I'm a broker. You can open an account here at Wealth Securities. Take a look at what happened today in your most active. You could see that from a perspective, since Ayala Land got a weight increase, you could see that Ayala Land rebounded 2% to 32.5. Pure Gold was unchanged. The top two traded at 48 flat, meaning the market has probably anticipated this increase in weighting such that the news wasn't as positively well received, although Pure Gold temporarily rose 50 pesos on the back of this news. We also see a temporary drop for SM Prime, 3.55%, down to 28.55 with 239 million pesos value traded because of that decrease in weighting due to the increase on Ayala Land. So take note that Ayala Corp, SM Prime, and SM all had a decrease in weighting in your MSCI Philippines. Now, a significant mover, Security Bank, is down 8% from 100 pesos to 92 pesos, trading 216 million peso value traded as an expense because Security Bank got demoted in the MSCI Philippine Index. Now, for Home, which is an addition, Home got a 2.5% increase. Macro Asia fell, I think, to a new, it's not the 52-week low yet, but it's also near the 52-week lows of 4, dropping 4.76% to 4.2 on the back of that news, with quite a good, with quite a big volume on the downside on 30 million pesos. Now, so I think that's the most important chart, most important news that you have to know, as well as these things. So as of last week, actually, we didn't report this, but Manila Water income was up 4%. So last week, the best news happened because Ayala Corp, MPI, and Manila Water were rising on the back of Duterte's apologies. Now, this news wasn't quite reviewed by most people, but East Zone Water Concessionaire Manila Water, let's just read the news. They reported a 4% increase in their consolidated net income to 1.3 billion pesos, despite the lower contribution from its domestic subsidiaries. Take note that the Manila Water's earnings were 1.6 billion during the first quarter of the year, while the revenues rose 9% to 5.5 billion pesos. Costs and expenses declined by 30%, despite the 15% increase of MWSS due to the water supply shortage last year, or a 500 million pesos penalty imposed by MWSS. Domestic operations under Manila Water Philippine Ventures recorded a net loss of 150 million pesos. You also saw an increase in chemical costs in Manila Water's Cardona treatment plant as increased power costs for energization of new deep wells. So I think it's also important to see that Manila Water's Vietnam investment lost 193 million pesos due to the recognition of more equity share in net income of associates. Definitely, this water concessionaire is something that rose on the back of that news. In fact, last week, Manila Water rose 8% to 1270. So we actually wanted to make a moniker for these utility firms. We call them the M&Ms. So M&M's milk chocolate, no. They're Meralco and Manila Water. So these are your concessionaires. And from a PE perspective, let's take a look at where Manila Water today stands. How to do it is you go to stats, you just go to analytics. So Manila Water is a utility firm. You go to fundamentals just to take a look at where it's currently trading at, what's their price to sales, what's their market cap, those types of things. So we go to, so that's a service industry. Let's go to the services. Wait, where's Manila Water? Oops, no, sorry, not services. Industrial, there. So Manila Water in a year still provides, I don't think they reported a dividend, but traditionally Manila Water is paying about 3% yield at 45 cents. Price to earnings ratio, let's take a look at Manila Water. Manila Water at 1250 is trading at about 5 to 6 times, 5.66 times PE ratio. So that's a cheap company. And so I think there is a probability that chartists and fundamentalists might want to take a look at Manila Water, given that the overhang on the risks of the regulatory have been temporarily negated due to the apology of Duterte. So this is the chart of Manila Water. Let's take a look at the bigger chart of MWC. So M&Ms. MWC, so far since the news flow, you've got an increase, but there's been lower volume these days, particularly as it's been rising. So I think there are some people that are taking profit because that's from 10.50 to 13 in such a short week. You might see some people willing to sell down, but I think there are people who would like to buy somewhere from this high, which is 1168, all the way lower, if they can buy low. So you could probably take a look if Manila Water forms a little flag with low volume. If it goes down with low volume, that's still a bullish sign. Okay, so other movers for the day. So most of the movers for the day are on the downside. As we said, SM Prime was decreased, not kicked out, but decreased weighting. And so you see there are these 3 days of drop. We'll see if there's a 4th day and a 5th day drop. There is a support here at 26. Some people are assuming that 28 could be a support, but with that decrease in MSCI, let's see if we can get a lower discount given the property sector has been getting a negative news flow, by the way. Okay, so other things, no? So Security Bank got really penalized with high volume on the downside. We're seeing that Manila Water might even retest this low, which for some people could be an attention-grabbing buying opportunity if they believe that the MSCI is just a quarterly rebalancing, which could be a tradable opportunity. So for those who don't know, MSCI usually takes effect from now until end of the month. So today is May 13. You still have about 17 days to know whether the market will react significantly to the downside for Security Bank, for Macro Asia, and the likes. Now, for the positive ones, like Pure Gold, we actually made a speculation that Pure Gold would have a good earnings and could potentially be an increased weighting in your MSCI. So far, that prediction came out correct. Today, Pure Gold really increased weighting with a 2% increase in your MSCI. So I think like the larger number of active investors and passive managers, both active and passive funds, will probably increase their weighting on pure gold considering this announcement. So we still see that within the next 2 weeks, until May 30, we might see a potential revaluation for pure gold rising currently 48 to as much as 50, 52, 54. I'm not sure if it happens within 2 weeks or so, but the news is positive. We don't know, maybe some people might see it just consolidate here. That's also possible. If they were buying at 46 and they're happy with the 2 peso gain at 48, then that's also possible. But the good news is that pure gold gets added, and that's a good thing for our G pump picks, no, GPUMP. Another news for our G pump, Globe means we took a look at so right now the trending in the Philippines is sa classroom may batas, the memes of Kim Chu. Now everyone in the Philippines know that ABS-CBN was not granted their license, and so I saw that Ayala Corporation looks to be interested in this ABS-CBN teleserye right now. There is there is a rumor, and now it's a dismissed rumor. Ayala dismisses rumors on buying into ABS, CBN. Ayala, ABS is not for sale. So like a day ago, Ayala was saying that they may take interest in ABS, CBN frequencies. The reason I think that it could be synergistic is because Ayala Corporation owns Globe, and Globe is your largest subscription, one of the largest telecom, of course, the largest being PLDT. So a further digitalization of the Philippines would help Ayala Corporation own a stake in your media giant in the Philippines, which is still ABS-CBN. So ABS-CBN is not trading at the moment. So that's just your news for the day. Other news that you might want to know is that in the US, we started to see, okay, so this is something that we are seeing. Okay, for the Philippines, we're already in a modified GCQ starting May 16 to May 31. We're also seeing, this might interest some of you, I'm sharing this. So tomorrow, Maxis and Potato Corner are your panelists, Mr. Robert Prota, Mr. John Magsaysay, all of these people are going to report live stream in your Facebook pages through Zoom webinars. This was created by Philippine Franchise Association. It's free registration, 2 to 4 p.m. We're going to discuss how what's next for food, retail, service, how are they going to reopen, what's the road to recovery, and so forth. It's in partnership with BPI, PLDT Enterprise, Phoenix Petroleum, Sea Oil, and there. So Bibing Kinitan. So yun, I think it's a good panel, so you might want to listen on that tomorrow. For those who don't know, I share a lot of things on my Twitter account. This is Faces Trader, @FacesTrader. I think what's interesting so far for your entertainment is to take a look on the Netflix documentary, The Last Dance. So I was particularly inspired in the last 4 episodes. I just binge watched last night, 4 episodes pa lang. For those who have watched it, I'm sorry if who haven't watched it, I'm sorry if I'm gonna spoil a few things. The question that I want to ask everyone to end my presentation is, who is the GOAT? Who's the greatest of all time in your portfolio? And if they're performing so well for you, do you think that if that stock could speak, would you say that he will berate you for even thinking about trading him when he's doing all his best and you want to cancel the franchise after several championships? So actually in 1997 to 1998, the Last Dance, it was what Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Doug Collins, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, all of them thought that it was going to be their last dance because the management by Jerry Krause, the manager, was thinking that he had to rebuild his portfolio. So I ask you, take a look at your portfolio. I would say that there are times that there are players that are injured. So let's say there was a time that Kobe Bryant got an Achilles heel. No? So take a look. Right now, the the worst hit industries definitely are your restaurants, your hospitality industry, your airlines. So it's natural to see them falling about 90% from their peaks. So you could see the Macro Asia was also deleted last in this MSCI to 420. No, so we can see that maybe it can even hit new lows with that MSCI deletion. But let's see if it gets supported somewhere at 4 or any new lows. We're gonna take a look whether these deletions can give us an opportunity. So how you think about it from a sports speak is that these players are injured. So they have an injury. They might need to be in the hospital for about 6 months or 1 year to recover. So in the short term, if you are a short-term trader, you're just thinking, hey, I want to play in the playoffs and I want to win a championship. You're not gonna have these players. You're not gonna have Macro Asia. You're not gonna have these airlines, for instance, like Cebu Pacific. You're not gonna have them. Definitely, it's not gonna do well in your playing championships. But what's gonna do well in your championships? Of course, the G Pump picks. Those would be Globe, URC, Mrs. G, Pure Gold, Telephone, diba? Those are your MVPs. Those are your goats in your portfolios right now. Now, even in the US, I'm also seeing that so far, Dr. Fauci was actually saying that they could reopen, but they might not be ready yet, and so there could be a lot of infections. This actually spurred a 2% after hours drop in the USA. So I'm saying that with the e-commerce names, our Dawn Z era names hitting a very, very strong move in the last month already, some hitting 100% from their lows. It's normal for people to be getting out of their positions, trimming. But the main difference between a GOAT portfolio is you don't want to really sell all of your positions if it's the GOAT of your portfolio. So I want you to think like a team manager. Which are the companies that are your GOATs? What are your core holdings? Which are the Michael Jordans, the Scottie Pippens? And in fact, I actually said that Scottie Pippen was actually very underappreciated in Chicago Bulls. He was the second best player in the league, but the 122nd most undervalued, most underpaid player in NBA. So in the Philippines, I'd say that until now, Mrs. G could be the Scottie Pippen of the Philippine market because, it's in the grocery sector. You've got Pure Gold as your MVP. You've got Mrs. G as your Scottie Pippen. You've got 1 and 2. It's not fair that somebody's trading at 25 times multiple or 20 times multiple. Actually, Pure Gold hasn't traded 20 times multiple because we haven't seen the earnings yet. We'll take a look. Maybe this Friday we'll see the earnings. But if MRSGI is trading at a 5 times multiple, then maybe that's an undervalued pick. Maybe Manila Water, it's a Scottie Pippen pick as well of the Philippines. Take a look at the positions in your portfolio, and I hope that you have a very good week. And see you again. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, like our channel, and share to your friends. Thank you.